A bunch of malarkey. We know the value of voting Democratic when our votes count. It's important that you save your vote for the November election. We'll need your help in electing Democrats up and down the ticket. Voting this Tuesday only enables the Republicans in their quest to elect Donald Trump again. Your vote makes a difference in November, not this Tuesday. If you would like to be removed from future calls, please press 2 now.
Last month, ahead of the New Hampshire primary, voters received a robocall impersonating President Joe Biden, telling recipients not to vote in the state's primary. The fake Biden calls reached 5,000 to 25,000 people and spoofed the originating number, according to authorities, to appear on caller ID as if they were coming from the former chairperson of the New Hampshire Democratic Party, who was running a pro-Biden write-in campaign at the time. An investigation was launched by the New Hampshire Attorney General's office for an unlawful attempt at voter suppression. As it turns out, the calls were created by a magician named Paul Carpenter, who was hired to do so. Paul Carpenter says he was hired in January by Steve Kramer, who has worked on ballot access for Democratic presidential candidate Dean Phillips, to use AI software to make the imitation of Biden's voice, urging New Hampshire Democrats not to vote in the state's presidential primary. It's important to note there's no evidence linking the campaign itself from this action. And if Kramer did this, he did this on his own volition. We want to be clear of that. But Carpenter, who is a world record holder for fork bending and straitjacket escapes,
has escaped out of this controversy by blaming Kramer. Kramer's gonna think he bent that fork.
He has been building computer programs and experimenting over the past few years with NFTs, content creation, and artificial intelligence. He and Steve Kramer were introduced through a mutual acquaintance for whom he had done some web design and social media management work. Carpenter said Kramer took an interest in, Carpenter said that he believed Steve Kramer was working for the people whose voices he was being asked to imitate, and the voice projects were authorized by the campaigns. He had not heard of Phillips, a congressman from Minnesota, and said he was not aware of Steve Kramer's work for the candidate, Carpenter said in an interview with NBC News. I created the audio used in the robocall. I did not distribute it. I was in a situation where someone offered me some money to do something and I did it. There was no malicious intent. I don't know how it was going to be distributed. Text messages between the two show the duo's partnership, including Kramer sending scripts to Carpenter and directing Carpenter to his father, Bruce, for payment. Venmo transactions show an account with the name Bruce Kramer paid Carpenter $150 in 2 transactions on January 20th. On January 22nd, when NBC News first broke the news of the fake Biden robocall, Steve Kramer texted Carpenter a link to the story along with the message shh, to which Carpenter replied, GTFOOH, an acronym used to express astonishment. I want to bring
something like that.
Yeah, is that what it's used for?
Something like that.
Yeah, it took me half a second. I was like, I got it. Okay, so for my purposes, this story's not about politics. Like, okay, sure, blah, 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 what happened in New Hampshire primary. But no, it's about the AI, and we're all screwed. So reality just got bent like a fork. And in all seriousness though, it did. Now, like I couldn't tell that if you had told me, I mean, take out the malarkey part and stuff, and you just gave that, is this Joe Biden? I would have no reason to believe that it wasn't Joe Biden. It sounded exactly like Joe Biden. And so they've now basically perfected it. So if you think you're hearing someone, it might not be that person at all. So now that cat's out of the bag and we can't put it back in. One, I mean, let's talk about fake scandals created against people. Real scandals covered up by just saying, you don't know it was me. Trials. Evidence isn't evidence anymore because maybe it was AI. This has got massive repercussions. And so the reason why this story is interesting is it was Biden's voice. It wasn't Biden, but it really was Biden's voice. So now we're screwed. And the last thing I'll say is I think in a best case scenario, and Ramesh knows all this stuff better, but in a best case scenario, we're all going to be like now watching an NFL game. A play happens, and then you don't celebrate, you don't get upset until the review. We all wait for 5 minutes for the review, and then you know, hey, is it a touchdown? Should I celebrate or not? In a best case scenario, every one of these recordings has to be run through some sort of program that de-AIs it and says real or fake before we can go, oh, I can't believe Biden did that, or oh, I can't believe, or he didn't, oh, thank God, etc. So get ready for that because it's begun. It's now official. You cannot tell if it's someone's voice or not.
I mean, it's very telling for me that the person behind this AI sort of representation or perversion of Biden's messaging is a magician, because essentially the way AI, artificial intelligence, generative AI systems are enacting themselves on our country, around the planet, are a lot like magic, because we don't know what's happening, where it comes from, and we don't have any basis of understanding the source of such information, right? And that's just like magic. And let's be completely honest, it is in the interest of those who are developing these AI systems to continue to hide and immunize themselves from public scrutiny, from regulation, from aggressive action to ensure democratic transformations, or let alone the economics of it all. It's in their interest to be like magicians, right? We've seen the big tech CEOs sign a voluntary pledge, what a bunch of BS, saying that we're going to regulate deep fakes as well as shallow fakes. So deep fakes are using, the way a lot of these AI systems work, I know we talked about it before, is they scrape existing data, hence Biden's voice, and they sort of aggregate the data and recombine the data and add some complex effects to that data to make them believable. It's an algorithm that we call stochastic parroting, just for those who are curious about it. So that can be everything from shallow fakes, which just be slowing down Nancy Pelosi's voice. Remember that one, right? Mm-hmm. With that whole issue, or it could be more actual content that's completely created using fragments of other pieces of content. So the magicians are here, and it's all using our data, not compensating us for any of it, and it's now enacting itself on big tech platforms, social media platforms that we know are extremely influential and important when it comes to elections and really our daily lives, our political lives, our democratic lives, all of it.
It was really easy to do, according to this report. So he used 11 labs, an AI text-to-speech voice generator that has been identified by an NBC News analysis and outside experts as the tool used to create the Biden robocall. He also used other mostly free AI tools to show how he could add the audio to a video of a person talking and animate their lips to match. Now, Carpenter showed NBC News how he created the imitation using NBC News reporter's voice.
And now I can have you say anything I want. So
how about an I love NBC and my bosses?
So what we just did is already there, and I could just push play.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I love NBC and my bosses.
So
that sounds like me.
It sounds just like you. Now, if I wanted to take that and actually make this better, I can. So here you can go really intense. So like I want to make it sound much more like you.
Okay.
And I want the stability to be a little bit more stable on your voice, and we can even exaggerate your voice a bit more. So this one's a little bit more.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I love NBC and my bosses.
That's a little more like you.
Really sounds like me.
Right, it's pretty intense.
Can we make it say, hi, I am a robot. Hi. Or hi, my name is not Alex, I'm a robot, but I do love NBC and my bosses, or something like that.
Whatever you want, dude. So,
hi, I am a robot version of Alex, and I love NBC and my bosses.
Dude, that sounds like you. That's ridiculously you.
That sounds exactly like me.
So now we have that.
Paul Carpenter, the magician, added, "It's so scary that it's this easy to do. People aren't ready for it. I'm not showing you anything you can't learn how to do on YouTube."
Yeah, don't get distracted by the fact that he's a magician. It's just symbolic. The AI is available to anyone. You don't have to be a magician. It's not a secret craft, etc. Which is going to lead to one of my questions here. But the reason I was emphasizing, hey, it's here now, it starts now, is because in all the other stories, we're like, oh, it's coming, it's in the future. Oh, you remember the one with Biden and Obama and Trump playing video games, and it was kind of a deep fake, but you knew it wasn't them. It sounded like them, but not exactly, right? And you knew it wasn't. This now has arrived. So from here on out, don't believe your husband when he says, "Oh yeah, babe, they AI'd my voice with the mistress." Okay, but this is the official starting point in my opinion, and so it's not the future anymore. But what I wanted to ask you, Ramesh, is. Are there AI detectors? Could they just run that and go, oh, it turns out that's not Alex?
Yeah, there's two major ways this could occur. If these tech companies were super pressured, they could actually implement particular types of technology detections that could try to look at the source of various pieces of content and look whether that content was aggregated from different sources. There are ways to sort of back channel the paths by which content comes, because so much data exists in these repositories, they can find ways to cross-reference it. I mean, it wouldn't be as simple as spam detection tools, and we all know we still get tons of spam. All of us get spam all the time, but there were some successes with that. Similarly, they could invest in tools and technologies that could flag this stuff before, especially before it went viral. That's a key part, right? When social media platforms, visibility is tied to virality. You don't see stuff. If I'm like some schmuck, like I was just asking if you could retweet my about my podcast, you have hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm some schmuck who posts something online with 7,000 followers because I never use social media. But and that's very likely means it's not gonna circulate. And if I wrote some crazy hateful stuff or hyper fake stuff, it's likely to circulate. The other way they could do this, Cenk, is actually invest in thousands upon thousands, and this is the economy of the future, of content moderators who are paid a living wage. These are the people who actually look to try to detect content. Obviously, there's no way any of us could really detect whether this is fake or not, but they could be used to check what content is going viral on these platforms before it goes viral, and actually see if it's not something that's believable or they ask any questions, you could reduce its virality. So these are all levers, they're technical levers that involve humans being employed that support democratic transformation, but instead we get, and this is what Zuckerberg repeatedly says, oh, I'll just make better AI. What the heck does that mean? This AI has nothing to do with the AI that I used to develop when I was a student at MIT. This is just scraping data and looking for emergent patterns by aggregating those pieces of data. There's so much we could do. We could create a just progressive, we don't even have to use the word progressive, like a new middle class based on working with data to support our democracy. We create tons of small businesses out of it. It would be so badass.
All right, well, that sounds good.
There's my utopia.
Okay, there you go.